So welcome ladies and gentlemen. Today Blender 5.0 was released. My operating system Linux Popo has informed me that this is the case, and I played around with some modifiers. The new thing about the Blender 5.0, I don't know much about it, but I know they have new modifiers. At least I hope the modifier we're gonna use is new, otherwise I just overlooked a very cool modifier. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create a city structure, and it's gonna be a relatively clean mesh. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be look good enough, and quality wise also being good enough. And yeah, that's what I want to share with you. This is not a tutorial, this is more like an inspirational video. I myself play around with those settings, so I just learned about this and optimized that and tweaked a bit, so bear with me when I make some mistakes. But you can also be critical, as long as it's helpful. Okay, I would say we're gonna get started shortly after my other thing. I want to show you quickly this guy here. I'm into overlays right now, so I created this Bioshock guy with the drill, and I found I found a modifier way of creating the drill, which I am also gonna show soon. The video already is made, I just have to upload that. That's the interesting part. Also, if you have any questions, want to know things, let me know. If I can do, I will probably make a video about this. Okay, turning this off, keeping the little one overlay because I like it, and it maybe gives me some sympathy points. I gotta be sneaky. Let's get started, I would say. So we're gonna fire up a new Blender file. It looks a little bit different to your Blender file. Maybe I changed the colorization here. It's better for my eyes. What we do first is we're gonna press A and X, deleting everything in the object mode. So, everything is gone. I also gonna delete that because this is not the default. So now everything should look similar to your setup. We jump into layout, and here I'm gonna add now our first object. We're gonna add the simplest way without changing the origin point. We need a cube again, but I don't want to change the origin point of the cube, so we're just gonna add Shift A, add a plane, and now say click in the scene, and now we're gonna click on the plane, go into the edit mode, click on this guy here, press the N key, and now we could just drag that actually. Now we have to press E, extrude, right click, cancel, and bring this up here like so. That's important, only the Z axis, and change this to 1, no, to 2. Now we have a perfect cube with the right orientation, and tap out of the edit mode into the object mode. I know it's very complicated. Another way, just make sure you have a cube with the orientation point here. Another way would be just get the normal cube, Shift A, get a cube, then tap into edit mode, go down a little bit, navigate with your mouse wheel by pressing on the mouse wheel, go into face selection mode, click on this face, select back, or just like so, click on this face here, press Shift S and say cursor to selected, tap out into object mode, right click on the object, set origin to geometry. Now set origin to 3D cursor. Now the origin point here, when you see, has changed, and also when we press Alt and G, we reset the cube to its default position, has also changed. Now this is its new default position. This is important because this will be our building, but the cursor has also changed. We want to bring the cursor back to its original position. There are two ways. Go into the view thing. Here you can change the cursor in here, or alternatively you can click Shift S and say cursor to world origin. Okay, so this is a building. Let's name it building, double click, or just click on this guy, press F2, say building. I hope I wrote that correctly. If not, well, whatever. So this is the building, and now we need the city structure, and for that we're gonna zoom out a bit and Shift A, get a plane. A little window pops up in the left hand corner down below. Click on that, make this bigger, set the size to 1000. That's good. What we have to do is press the N key, and we need this window here. Go to the viewport, go to the end here. It says maybe this is the default value, I don't know. I might have changed that. Just set it to 10,000. What this is doing, basically, if I set this to 0, or just increase that, that's how far we can see in the viewport. For the camera, you have to set this up the same way. There's a camera section. I'm gonna just add that quickly, just quickly to show you. Camera, here we go. When you click on the camera, this is the same value as here. You have to make sure this matches that, otherwise you will not see it. In the final render, it'll look different. I'm gonna delete the camera again. We don't need that right now. Okay, I'm gonna change also a little bit of setting here. This is too bright for me right now. I'm gonna change it to, in the object mode, I can just click on this guy here, little arrow downwards, click on matte cap or whatever this is called, and then I'm just choosing something which is more relaxing for me. This is not important to do, this is just for my, no, that's just, it's easy for me on my eyes. Okay, so now we have here, also let's click on that again, make it look a little bit nicer. We're gonna add cavity here. That gives a little edge, makes it more interesting, you know. Also we can see the edges a little bit better. We can actually make this even better when we see here cavity is on. Outline we have here too. We can set the outline to white. Now we can see the edges much better in this setting. But this is optional. You don't have to do that. This is just a visual thing. Okay, so we have a plane. We have a cube. What we want to change, later on when we are in the city, we want to look at the city, and we want to look at the city like we are in a game. We're changing the FOV if you want, yeah, to, I would say 30. 30 is good. Now when I just move around, I can see, you know, I can see it better. Same thing counts for the camera. You have to change it in both camera and view. For the final render, I'm just saying. Okay, another thing is we want to be able to fly through the city. And in order to fly in Blender, we can also walk on the surface, but you have to have the option first, or so we go to Edit, Preferences. Here under Key Maps, you type in Fly, and then you set yourself a shortcut, or use the shortcut which is already there to start flying. I changed it to Shift F. I think this was the default shortcut at some point in time. When I press Shift F and I use the WASD keys, I can fly, you know. And when I press the Tab key, I fall down to the surface of my cube. I maybe need a glass of water. Yeah, hold on. Okay, let's continue. I had some glass of water. Also gotta go pee, but I didn't went. I'll tell you why. I know too much information, but maybe I have to hurry up because of it. Okay, so we have the outline, we have our plane. Let's get started with the modifiers. So we're gonna press N to hide this window, also T to hide this window here, just to see things better. We're gonna pay attention to the modifiers only. So first thing we do, we click on we scroll out with the mouse wheel. Also, when you are able to fly now, I almost forgot that. So Shift F is my default key, whatever you have. I covered that, right? Shift, you can fly, and when you press Tab, you fall down to whatever surface is available. Okay, so we click on the plane here, and then modifier. First modifier will be the under generated scatter on surface modifier. I think this was already there, but maybe has changed. I hope it's new. If not, whatever, it's definitely cool. So first thing is, when you do that, it's gonna slow down your system, because the plane is very, you know, it's big. And what we have to do, we click, destiny method, we change it, so not destiny, the destiny method, density method. To amount, and we set the amount to O for now, just for now, so that we have better performance. And we say, please use the cube here as our object we want to scatter. So we scatter on surface modifier, like so. And here under instancing, we say pick the cube. Okay, now we turn on the amount, let's say 5 for now. You see there are little cubes appeared here. Let's use a higher value. Let's use 5,000. Here we go. Now we have lots of cubes, and it works like you know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Next thing is we wanna increase the base or we want to determine the base structure of all the buildings. That's the first step. So the base structure means how big should they be, how wide. I found a value of 10 here, great. So now they are relatively big. I'm gonna use the flying mode and press tab to fall down. This helps me. And then we say, okay, you know, the thickness will be like this thick. I'm gonna go back again. So this is how they look right now. And they are looking all the same. So let's change that. Let's click here on randomize and open the randomize button. And here we could change also the rotation of those things. You can see that's all interesting. You should play around with that, but we're gonna leave that for now. But it definitely helps. But for what we use, this will not have a big impact because we're gonna use remesh. Anyway, so we leave that option, but play around, do something else, you know. What is scale doing? Ah, yeah. So because this is the, again, I'm turning this off. This is the base build. So every building will have this, those dimensions. This is based on the cube we created. So they are all the same height, same thickness, and so on. Now we want to randomize that, and we do that by saying, okay, let's randomize it to a certain value. Let's say I find actually the value of 0.5 perfect for our solution. So we have already a cool city. Before we go ahead and make sure that the buildings do not stick in each, you know, the problem is here, you can see that here on the edges, those buildings, they kind of stick together, or one building is you know, going into the other building. That's not really cool. I want to change that later. There might be an option, no, there's very likely an option in geometry nodes to change that, to optimize that, but I wouldn't know how to do that. To me, modifiers are much more intuitive, and so we're going to use modifiers. That's the way how I fix that. And you can see also because of that, some little glitches here happening, and that's not helpful. Okay, before we do that though, I want to show you how we can get the control over our city. Meaning, let's say we want to have like streets here in the city. We paint that in now. For that, we're gonna make this a little bit bigger here for now. I'm just gonna make, you know, closing the instance here. Just it's the same, you know, modifier. We're gonna use masking. So we click on masking on this little arrow key, and then we leave it for now. What we do now, this might be already available. I just, you know, got rid of most of the things I don't usually need so often. Go to texture painting, click, but before, click on your plane, that's important, click on the plane, and then go to texture painting. I have to open that again, so I'm just gonna click on the plus icon and say texture paint. And press, when you're in this window here, hover with your mouse in the right window, and press the numpad 7 key. Alternatively, you can click with the mouse on the Z here, and then with the mouse wheel scroll out, like so. I know it doesn't look good, but we're gonna change it in a second. Now let's click on the texture slot here, and you see new material. We click on the plus icon here, say base color, and then we don't need alpha. It's just another, you know, it's more information, makes the file bigger unnecessarily. We don't need that. Also the resolution, while I can see when you have like a super high dense thing that this could matter, but in our case, this resolution is completely fine. We just leave it at that, and we say we could give it a name. We just name it. I do not know. Malen. This is the German painting word. We malen. So we said malen. You can also write malen if you want, and we scroll out and here a bit. So this should match this one. So what we want to do right now, I'm gonna disable the shader overlays. That means right now it highlights, we selected our object and that's highlighted. I want to turn everything off, which has nothing to do with painting right now. So temporarily turning this one off so I can see things better. Also under the modifier section, I'm going to click on, here it says keep surface. We can get rid of the plane itself if you want to. There's an advantage of keeping it, there's an advantage of taking it out. Right now I'm taking it out so we can see it better. It would also work with grass. So this method is not just for cities or anything. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just fill the whole thing with black. Right now black is already set as the default color, and I use the filling tool and click on that. Now it's nothing happened. I'm gonna undo that quickly. What I need to do is we created the thing Malen, right? The texture, the new texture Malen, basically are a canvas. We have to choose this canvas here now. We have to click on this icon here under masking in the modifier section and say use Malen. So now it should work. We're gonna click on the fill icon here, black color, and I'm just making everything black. Now everything disappeared. Now let's use the brush here and let's press X. With X we can, when we are in this menu, when the mouse is here, we can quickly change those colors. So we say white, and now let's paint that. And you can see we are basically painting where the city should be. Alternatively, click on the fill icon, make everything white. And if this happens, you can just, you know, click on the pencil, F, make this bigger, overpaint the whole thing. So that means when it's white, buildings appear. Now let's make some streets. We're gonna click on the X here. You can also pick a different color, but it wouldn't make sense in this case. Only black and white makes sense in this case. And we say we want to have some streets. So I'm going to press F to make this smaller. And now we have here some streets going like so. Then make this tinier streets like so. This can be helpful for later. So it's more like city-like. And also I want to make sure that it's not the outer edges. There is nothing. That one makes it. This makes it more interesting up here. And here's a little. You don't have to make it super complicated as I do right now. You know, it doesn't have to be like that at all. Make your own little city and save it. Press S, Shift S, and then give it a name. I'm gonna call it YouTube. Save the Blender file. That's important. Also, click on this icon here. That should save your painting. Alternatively, you can always save this one here as a separate painting on your local machine or whatever. Also, when you don't do those things and when you close your Blender file and Blender is asking you, should I save this thing, and you don't know what it is, say yes, save it because it's your painting. Okay, let's go back to layout. So we painted our city and we have some simple streets. That's good. So next thing what I want to do is I want to make those things are more interesting, those cubes right now. And I also, two things I want to get rid of. I don't like the sticking in each other things, and more interesting. So we're going to use, I prepared something for myself, a screenshot, because again, it's also new. And now I prepared the screenshot and I closed the screenshot. Good job. So just for myself, always on top. With Linux, you can make things always, every window always on top. It's so helpful. Okay, we need a remesh. So what is happening now? We use a modifier to actually say this is right now our mesh, right? We're using here the modifier, but I want Blender to recalculate the whole mesh to get rid of those glitches in here, as you can see, right? Here's a glitch, and we don't want the buildings to stick in each other. So we're gonna use remesh, another modifier. So we go down to generate and say a remesh. And I have found a value of smooth good. Be careful when you change this value here. The more detailed you go, the harder your system, you know, increase those values step by step, like 5, 6, 7, and so on, instead of using big numbers, because you can crash your system. You don't want that, but you will do that eventually anyways. So you're gonna crash your system with that anyways, which is good. It makes me happy. Okay, you see right now nothing changes here because I'm gonna use a value of 6 for now. We can increase it to 8 later. We have to do one crucial thing, that is instancing. Under this scatter or surface, we have instancing, yeah. And then we have to say, right now this uses, I believe, or maybe you read that thing. I never read, that's why I never know things. we have to make it real for the other modifiers to make use of that. Right now, the other modifier doesn't know that, you know, mesh is existing. We say, hey, listen, meshes do exist by clicking on that. And you see, things disappeared. We're gonna make this the first modifier just small. And we have here under remesh, we use smooth right now. We have remove disconnected. We click this away. And now we can change the details here a little bit. I found smooth pretty cool, but feel free to experiment with other methods. I clicked on voxel right now, and my system is now calculating. So I hope it'll be able to calculate that. If not, I have to, you know, let's give it some time. That's what I meant with when we play around with this size of the mesh. Like we have 1,000, you know, like a city structure, and we make changes in here, that can really crash your Blender. Let's say we want to wait 30 seconds. If it doesn't if it cannot calculate it, I'm just gonna kill Blender, the process, and then try it again. Don't worry, we get this. I just, you know, that was a stupid thing to do because I didn't know what this would do. I mean, anyway, in this with the size. Okay, nothing happens. I think I just crashed my Blender, which is good because it's calmer, because I was laughing at your crash and now it happened to me. So I'm gonna just use my systems monitor in processes and just have to just find Blender. I mean, if I wait for long enough, I think Blender can still manage it, but I gotta end the process. Yeah, kill, go on, do it. Okay, bye. So, just a second, I just reopen. That's a good thing, I just saved the Blender file before. You should do the same thing. You see what can happen. Oh, where's my Blender? Oh shit, now I opened Steam instead of... Yeah, I was curious how you can install Blender through Steam. So I opened the wrong Blender file right now. Blender. So just a second. And get YouTube back. There was an older version. I tried already recording a video, but I fucked up. I did something. Okay, anyway. So let's... yeah, I had such a good run. Anyway, let's press N. You can see already here, you can see when in this window, you have to do the thing I mentioned earlier, the viewport thing for each window. So we have to increase what we can see. For some reason, because I didn't save, Blender crashed. My city is gone, so I'm drawing quickly a city again. So let's do that. It will look a little bit different. I like the version before better, but okay, it is what it is. Like so, and then like so. That's just karma, you know, I shouldn't have laughed. But I'm still hoping this happens to you too. Okay, so now we have an ugly city, but okay, still works, you know, we have here a little bit. And make this one here white, and this is actually, I see what, let me just do this again. Let me take the time for that. It's not completely white, I just realized that. Okay, I'm just gonna do the same thing as before. Zip, like here, like so, like so, like that. Little things here, going here, going there, going here. Here we go. Oh, okay, that's acceptable. Saving, clicking saving. Good. Let's go back to the layout. Let's do this again. So what we have to do is basically instancing this, make it real so that the other modifiers will know, realize instances. Hey, other modifiers, realize this is a mesh. And now we add the modifier again, remesh. now I start to doubt my system. I do that right now and it's calculating like crazy. I wonder, is there anything else running on my system right now? And let me pause until this is done. Okay, good, worked out. Didn't have to wait too long. The thing is, because voxel is a little bit of a problem. So I would even recommend, if this happens, you know, decrease the amount first before you go up to 5,000. Then we have less crashing probabilities. But anyway, we go to smooth. This is the safer setting anyways. I'm gonna set this to 6 for now and make sure this remove disconnects is not checked. And now I'm gonna set this to 8. I find a value of 8 pretty good for a big structure. Depending on your plane, you need different settings. But with a plane of 1,000 times 1,000 times, it's gonna be a good value. But play around with those settings. No? Do your own thing. Okay, that's being done. And the next thing is we need now I'm gonna save it in between. We need now to duplicate this guy again, but let me just deactivate that before I do that for performance issues, so that it's not crashing again. Say duplicate this one, and the next one I have to check my, is it gone already? No, yeah, image. Next one we're gonna use, I see. This doesn't apply actually. The next one, I don't know, we're gonna use a value of 5 for now. Let's turn them. And also this one should be blocks. The first remesh is smooth. The second remesh is blocks in this case. I'm gonna turn this on. Now this on. Okay, and now we're gonna check what value do I need. And be careful when you go up too fast. We're adding more details, but also it can always crash. So now we have some interesting buildings. They're not gonna be perfect. We're gonna go ahead and add even more details to our little structure by increasing maybe this one here to 9, or let's get rid maybe this one here. I don't remember which one anymore. And now we have some very weird interesting buildings, and we should go maybe into one of these. Let's play around with the settings a bit more. We're gonna get here, it starts to become go back to 8. I think 8 is good. Yeah, this level here will give some interesting results. When we make more changes to our structure, then the remesh will also work differently. I had some better cities before. I wonder why. But here maybe they are kind of okay. We're gonna add another plane just to have a ground. I know what it is. We're gonna set this to 8 again for performance issues, because of performance issues, so to play it safe. So we have remesh 8 here, disconnect, and here we have smooth, and here we have blocks. Feel free to experiment with those settings. What I have to do is here, we're gonna say keep the surface, because the surface will not appear as a surface, but they will modify, make the buildings even more interesting. You can see? That's because of the remesh. That's the difference. So if I turn this off for a second, you can see what happens. So this is basically just keeping the plane. But if I keep that and I turn on remesh, this is also more interesting. This looks like an alien city a bit, with some rocket-like buildings. And if I turn this one on top of it, then they all look a little bit different to when I turn this off here. See? Makes it more interesting. But eventually, whatever you change before the remesh, you can add another modifier and make those buildings even weirder and weirder and weirder. You know, that's the interesting part. You can, with the remesh, you can do also so many random things. It's actually incredible. Okay, we have done that. What we have achieved with this method is basically having a city and all the blocks here do not stick in each other. There might be some other things where this is what I said, it's not a perfect method. This would not be a real good building, I guess. But you know, you can apply, if this is a city in the background, that's not a big deal. But what we can do, let's say we are happy with the city here, and eventually we want to fix some of the weird buildings, like that would not be existing, right? We would apply, I'm gonna save it a between, just started copying that, apply that, apply that, apply that, and now we could just you know, get rid of that, or maybe press A to select everything, M to merge everything by distance, but everything looks fine. So that's also a good indication that the whole structures here are pretty clean. That's the good thing. So it's going to be good for performance after applying the modifiers. So we could have a building like that. But I'm going to undo that. We are not done yet with our little project here. We want to even make it more clean. So let me just go back to what I had before. I think like something like that, right? So we still have the modifiers on, and we have a little city. Now I'm going to show you an option which is very useful when you work with modifiers. We go into object mode here to this icon here under show overlay, and we click here under geometry. We click on the checkbox here, wireframe. This gives you an overlook of how the objects would look like after applying the modifiers. Not 100%, sometimes it doesn't show everything, but it gives you a good indication how the objects will look after applying them. You can see we have while this is a cool method, having those clean blocks here, those clean cubes, because we can, after applying all the modifiers, we can make some little changes here and there. It's kind of cool if you want that, but if you want to if you just really want that city in the background, and you don't want those, you know, those things here, those little tiny cubes, then we use another modifier to get rid of those guys also. Again, if you increase the details, we even have more cubes, and that adds to the geometry. Again, can be good, can be bad, depending what you want. Let's say you want to get rid of that in a modifier way. We add another modifier. I've just made them all small. Add another modifier, go to generate, and go to decimate, and just click on this guy. The default value is already good enough. Now we have a 5%, here it's set angle limit to 5%. Play around with the settings. You see now the buildings, this is how the buildings will look at the end after applying all the modifiers. These would be our buildings, and I think they are pretty cool. Here we have a L, that's me, Lucas. And to make it even cooler looking, we're gonna go into this in the render mode, and I think I apologize a bit, you know, I should eat something. It's still morning. Okay, this one here, and we need now a sun because I deleted the sun. So shift. What did I do? Yeah. What I'm gonna do, the last thing is we're gonna add the bevel in the scene, but before that I want to make it cooler looking. So Shift A, add another plane, just so that we have a ground, and we add the plane, give the plane also 1000 meters. So the plane is here, but I don't have a sun. Shift A, add a light source, add the sun. We have a sun here, press N and then item. We change the orientation of the sun. We have some shadows, looks better. And now let's press Shift F, whatever you set up for the flying thing, and I'm pressing Tab to fall down. And here we have some cold cities. Again, they don't stick, you know, in each other. That's good. But now let's say I want to have like even a bevel to make the buildings, the corners, the edges smoother. That's what we use bevel for most of the time. We're gonna add another bevel like so. And what I figured out, sometimes it works when the bevel is here, but in this case we have to bring the bevel, we have to bring this guy, we drag and drop beneath the bevel. And that should do something. See, now we have even rounder, you can see more bevel here. And we can see how this would look in the object mode. That's where this is coming in handy. Very powerful tool when you work with a very powerful option. This option here, wireframe, very helpful. again, doesn't show it to you all the time, but most of the time. We adjust the bevel settings a bit, say like so, makes it sharper a bit. Maybe this was too sharp. Let's say 0.1. It was before, right? I think I'm gonna decrease the number here right now only to 5, so I can see have a better performance when changing the bevel. I'm gonna change this to 0.5 maybe, like so, twice, and maybe this one sharper. That's okay, let's use it like that. Let's change this back to 8. Now performance wise, this can be tricky on your system depending on what computer you have, you know, so you don't want to go up too high with bevel, also with the number, with the segments of bevel. This means how often bevel is applied or used. Not applied is nothing yet. And you can see this kind of looks better. Okay, I'm gonna go save this whole project and just in case, go to texture paint again and save this image as well under this window here. Where is it? Here. Saving this one, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And then I can actually increase that to 10. And it takes a while, and it's done. I'm turning this here off, and what we have here is nice clean meshes. And again, depending on what you change before, when you add another modifier, when you change those structures, right, you will change, tweak those settings, tweak the heck out of it until you are happy. The best thing is really, and this may be not a new method, I don't know, I realized that today. This is actually, today I realized that, you know, and now we have a cool city. Now, and also when it's really cool, I like the structure. So I'm gonna do now, apply all the modifiers, like in a normal newbie way, so you can follow it if you're a newcomer. Nothing wrong with, newbies are the best. The experts are, you know, experts, they stop being creative at some point. The better you get, the less creative you are. So if you are a beginner, you are really powerful with creations because you don't know what you're doing and you figure out things. That's really cool. Later you get better, which is also cool, but you don't explore so many things, you know, because you're not trying things. You use the things which already work. So being a newbie is the best thing for inspiration. Keep your old files also. Don't toss them away. They will help you later. Okay, so now we're gonna take a look at our mesh. See, and now this is a real mesh. You can see performance wise it's pretty okay. We have a big city, we have some stuff to do, which is great, and we just used some modifier which are really more intuitive than anything else. What I need, of course, is my guy here. Let's just say add oh, come on, I make a thumbnail look a little bit more intriguing maybe than what you see right now. I mean, I wouldn't be the only one, huh? I'm gonna add I'm gonna add this guy here. Look what where is it? Where is it? I'm gonna add my overlay. So we have to change. Look at this. Huh? It's just an overlay, but from the right perspective, you know, it looks pretty decent, right? Okay, I'm just playing around with some settings. That's just something, if you are interested into knowing how to make anything, if it's short enough, depending on the time I have, on the scale of the project, and also on the confidence level, I will explain. If you have any questions, and if I can make a video, I will make a video about responding to comments. I'm not doing that right now. I'm not sure if this is the right way, but I read them all. I will respond in a video, but not directly in things, but I read them all. I'm happy about everything. You can be critical, and you can be also encouraging, whatever you want to be. You can be whatever you want to be. You know. Isn't that not great? Okay, I'm saying bye-bye now. Auf Wiedersehen.